Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Divine Eye Racing Series, where tonight we'll be racing across my home race at Zandvoort. First, quickly into the action. Not quickly into the action. We're waiting for drivers to get everything set up. My name is Olaf, aka Wops Racing, and I am your commentator for tonight, like every other night, for Division 1. I thought we were going to hop straight into it, because this weekend is not just any weekend. We got a one-shot qualifying, followed by a sprint race, followed by a 50% race. That is 46 laps, 47 if you count the qualifying lap, of racing right around this beautiful, beautiful track that we call Zandvoort. First off, the one-shot qualifying, where we'll be taking you through all the action zones of the track, starting right now. First off, the final corner that we have right here, gonna hop on and drop the lap data and the track map so we can see where we're at. Currently, Touchkey, home hero, all the way up in first, dropping down a little bit further into the first corner. There's a big braking zone after a long DRS straight. Then this Kombocht, also a very good corner. So many lines you can take through it. That's the exact same base. You can end up at the exact same time. Yuri currently in first place through the dunes. Purple first sector. Swooping right-hander. I've seen overtakes happen there, so wonder if there are going to be any for today. Small braking zone here into the right. Might see some overtakes there. Most likely, drivers will just be trying to follow closely, because after the swooping left, there is a DRS zone, followed by an extremely big braking zone to the slowest part of the track, I should say, where dive bombs can surely happen. Quick left-hander onto the final DRS detection point. One more right-hander to go, one braking zone, and this is where the DRS already opens. There you go, it. Bam! Open on the rear wing for the entire straight onto turn 1. Of course, for qualifying, that's only just a small bit. And Yuri takes on first with the 108.3. That is pole position for the sprint race. But as I always say, points are not scored in qualifying. They are scored in the race. And luckily, we have two of them tonight. First off, a sprint race, and then a feature is Yuri in the Haas, getting pole position with a 1 minute 8.3. Kuski in the Red Bull, 108.5 in second place. Then half a second behind Yuri is his teammate, Scottish, also in the Haas, 108.9. Right behind that, Mookie and Sir Spongy in the Aston Martin. It's very close there throughout that top 5. Then behind Spongy, we have Robinho, Tronzik, Remix, Paddy, Mrios, Stuchki, Abrashid, Jan, F1 Dino, Divine Eye, Mihu, Sparrow, Jaspars, and Waza 19th. Only 19 cars ready on track for today. Looking onto the start of the race, we will not have a safety car lap, so no formation lap at the start, and that is all because of some issues we've had before. But before that, let's quickly look at the standings. Tronzik still in first place, but Yuri gaining that victory last week out in Jeddah gives him a little bit of an advantage. Currently 40 points behind Tronzik. That lead is cut down by just a tiny bit. Behind him is Scottish, who he got past. Yuri gaining 4 positions in the standings as well there, with that amazing performance out in Jeddah. And with that, Haas also jumped up in the standings, 3 points ahead of Mercedes now. Williams dropping down 2 places, but still trailing Haas by about 4 points. So the battle for first in the constructor standings is very, very tight. 179 for the Haas, 176 for Mercedes, and 175 for the Williams. And there's a huge gap further back. And McLaren and Ferrari are only 10 points apart from each other, fighting for 4th place. And then way at the back, we have AlphaTauri and Aston Martin with the equal amount of points, 79, trailing Alfa Romeo by 4 points, who is on 83. Those are 6 points behind Red Bull with 89, jumping from last place all the way up to 7th. Now, getting ready for the start of the race. The 5 lights are on and they're out. And we're racing at Zandvoort. Yuri gets a really good start. Kuski can't look for anything just yet. Scottish around the outside makes the overtake stick. There's an AlphaTauri off the track as well. Kuski fights back on the inside there. Does keep the position in second place. Robinho up into 6th. Tronzik dropping down. Paddy and Remix fighting now in 8th and 9th. Spongy through in 4th position. Fighting with his teammate side by side as Mio gets a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Jan. And there's a full course yellow. And it's a virtual safety car for Jan being out of the race already. That's a massive chaos. Currently in the top 12. No positions changed. Divine Eye up 2 places. Sparrow up 3. Wazaa up 4. Jasper's up 2. F1 Dino down 3. And Mihu down 2. But with a 5-second penalty, it's going to be mad at the end. We're going to look at the starting tire as the virtual safety car is ending. F1 Dino on the mediums. The rest all on the softs for this sprint race. Of course, getting last place right now does not mean too much just yet. It only means that Jan will be starting last place on the feature race. Not all the main points are being scored here, so everyone has a chance to go. As the safety car stays out for a bit longer than expected, neutralizing the track, and there we have it. Yuri going full power, and Kuski being kind of close there within a second. Both of them having pulled a gap already. And there's Mihu dropping back as Abrashid and F1 Dino are pitting. So it looks like they're moving on to the inters. And is it raining? They're both on the inters. But is it raining is the question. It doesn't look like it is just yet. Yes, it is. I can see a few spatters of rain on the halo of Kuski there. And there we have it on the camera as well. As you can see, the few drops of rain have fallen already. And Remix is now off. Tronzik is off the track. He's into the barrier. He's hit his front wing. But luckily, the weather is changing, so he's allowed to pit right now. And Robinho does the exact same thing. Dropping back a lot of places. Now, getting passed by Paddy as well. But we're going to see if Yuri goes in, because all of these cars are very slippery right now. They've all already made some mistakes, and now it's ready to go into the pits. Yuri staying out for now. Kuski following him as well. The DRS is still enabled. Or should be enabled soon, I should say. And right behind that, Mookie going in and crashing into the barrier. Getting tapped from behind. I think that's Paddy ramming right into the rear there. It was Remix ramming right into the rear. Gets a 10-second penalty. Sparrow a 5-second penalty for collision with Wazaa. And there's so many penalties. Mihu already had one, of course. So Wazaa also getting a penalty. That's a lot of penalties. And the safety car has been pulled out. So Yuri should probably speed up as much as he can through this rain. Go out to pit, because under the safety car, these softs will cool down and cool down. But that's a really weird incident there on the pit. Mookie just trying to get into the pit lane. And then getting absolutely demolished by the car behind. Sending it into the barriers and DNFing in this sprint race. Only 2 laps in. And we've already seen chaos and a massive collision, bringing out a safety car. Full course yellow, full safety car. Yuri has the choice to go in now. And I think he will. If you look at the spray on the cars here, there's massive water standing everywhere. If you look at the POV here, look at how slowly he is on the throttle. And there he goes, finally on it. Being very careful through here. Minimum steering inputs as well. Trying to keep it as straight as possible. And now moving down towards that pit lane. Going in, you see there's a clear line being made there. And we're going to see real quick, because he's going to drop way further down, because Robinho is all the way in 6th. They are in now. They, of course, have not pitted yet. The first one who has pitted is Divine Eye, currently in the final sector of the track. The question is, will Yuri get ahead? I think he will. But Mihu, with that 5-second penalty, might not get past. And Divine Eye will get that position. Yuri now on the exit with the Inters. Keeps first place. Skuski second, Scottish in third. Look at the positions gained. Spongy and crew all the way down to 9th, getting positions. I say as there's some shuffling going on right now to neutralize all the pits. Mookie DNFing and getting 14 places down. That, of course, gives everyone ahead of him from 4th onwards a really, really good free position. So 8 places gained for Divine Eye, currently in 7th place. So jumped on Remix and Rios, where he gained 8 positions from the start by just going into the pits earlier than the rest have. It's a very good strategic decision. So the safety car will most likely be out for another lap, trying to get the other cars way at the back. F1 Dino and Jaspers into the grid as well. And there is a Haas off, and that is Scottish. Let's see if we can catch that one. Sideways. Back on the track again. Overtaking some cars, because that's what happens under the safety car. Does he have damage? Unsure. I don't think we can see that from here. It looks like he can still continue. And there is his front wing completely gone. So even though he can continue, he has to go back into the pits to get a new front wing, because there's no way you're surviving the rain without doing any form of repairs. Remix currently 10-second penalties. Wazar 5 seconds. Sparrow 5 seconds. It looks like the safety car will be in on the next lap, so it goes for another one, which gives Scottish a free pit stop. Basically, in terms of pace, because he'll be right on the back, but it will lose him every single track position that he has gained so far. Most likely lost so far. Starting on 3rd place, this is definitely not the race Scottish would want. Luckily for him, this race is only 12 laps. Half of them will be under the safety car, and we'll see some more racing from him in the feature race. 36 laps, hopefully the same conditions as now, because this does make for interesting racing as long as the safety car goes in. So we're waiting for one more lap. Yuri currently holding the fastest lap, probably keeping that as well, because there is no way we're getting any better laps in the rain. Unfortunately, I don't have access to any weather that the drivers do get, which means that they will be able to see the weather earlier and hear the weather earlier from their engineers than I can. Which means that the call to pit there from F1 Dino earlier on, the first lap, I thought that he was making a mistake. Yes, it was cloudy, but I didn't see any rain just yet. But the drivers did see some spatters on their halo, most likely, on their visors even, and decided to go pit a little bit early, which helped Scottish on the end now. So the entire grid is currently a Haas sandwich, as the safety car message is here from race control in this lap, giving Yuri full control over what happens. Remix, Waza, and Sparrow holding on to their penalties, not setting them out just yet, because they want that track position. It's going to be an amazing restart from what I can tell. Yuri has the hammer to drop, and Kuski has to be awake for it. Currently in 2nd place, looking at the rear of the Haas. Yuri is going to look for the best opportunity to go. Most likely going to wait for as long as possible, because the traction in here is very, very slippery. You can lose the rear so easily. Weaving left and right. Kuski doing none of the sorts. And there he goes. Yuri drops the hammer. Gets away. Kuski not very awake, but is still holding on quite well. Yuri on the inside trying to cover off anything that happens. But further back, we see Tuchki making a send on the outside, but getting well defended by Robinho. Not getting past just yet. Lots of shuffling further in the back. I see that there's another yellow flag, and that looks like Abrasheet's off. And all the way down in the back, Tuchki having to retry a little bit later. We see Remix as well, looking to attack Divine Eye, his teammate. Tuchki's teammate, I should say. Getting really close, but Marios is right there as well. Remix having that 10-second time penalty should get some more positions. As F1 Dino gets a 5-second time penalty for ignoring the yellow flags. That's most likely the yellow flags that were being put out in the first sector. And there we have Mihu also off again. There's so many penalties, but none of them are for track limits just yet. There's a small train forming now between Tuchki, or between Divine Eye, I should say, and Paddy. Wazaz joining in the battle as well, where Tronzik is too. F1 Dino getting past Sparrow, and we should probably look back up front here, where there's a small send, but none of them being accomplished just yet. Paddy having to stick behind, so there's no DRS here because of the weather conditions. And F1 Dino makes his way past, and I should say Wazar makes his way down. Unsure if that is damage or if that's just not having the pace. And there he goes into the wall. Waza into the wall, clipping his front wing. And going to lose a few more positions. Into the pits he goes. He drops down at 15th. We go back up front with Yuri. As Scottish gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I believe that is race over for Scottish and for Waza. There's no way they take any of this home. 5-second penalty for both. And having to pit an extra time. There'll be no points for them for sure. But the points that want to be gathered are from Yuri. With Tronzik in 10th place. Currently first in the championship. Yuri 40 points behind. Needs every single point he can get from a DNF. A few races ago. This is something he wants to grab. Remix getting a position. Divine Eye getting picked off there on the inside by Mrios almost. But Paddy sending it through as well. And they're going to be 3 cars in this battle. Divine Eye looking to defend. Paddy sending it. Not yet. Keeping it close though. And looking for an attack somewhere soon. Kuski being right on the rear of Yuri. He might not have DRS, but he will have the slipstream. But I don't know if that's going to be enough on the straight. He's got a very, very, very good exit there because of the slipstream in the final corner. Yuri going defensive and Kuski having to stick behind for now. But that is really, really close. Paddy now as well on the inside of Divine Eye. Breaks a bit earlier, allowing Divine Eye to get past or to stick out in front. But there's a front wing part right next to the wheel and Divine Eye is still up in front. Touchkey. Now past Robinho, as Robinho is parked on the racing line. And it looks like he's going to be going again, but that's a lot of positions lost. All the way down in 12th now, as Robinho has left the session. I'm unsure if that's on purpose or if that's a genuine disconnect. But he's going to be dropping back quite far. Guski now holding on to 2nd place. Clear the gap behind for the Aston Martin of Spongy to fill in. Who's got a gap behind to Touchkey. He's got an even bigger gap behind as Tronzik gets an overtake done on Rios. Looking for a little bit more than just one position. Needs more points. Has made it all the way up into 8th again from 10th. One on merit and one on a crash from Robinho. Kuski now around the inside. Outside, I should say. Yuri on the inside. Kuski holding on wheel to wheel through turn 1 on the curbs that are very, very slippery. Kuski makes it hold on. But Yuri's on the inside and has the defense. No pun intended. And Kuski has to look for a good exit. But Yuri plants the car perfectly throughout that corner. Not allowing the Red Bull through at any point during that bit. And this sweeping corner was looking like there's going to be some overtakes there, but as soon as the rain landed, there was no chance of anything happening. And Kuski looking. He's very eager to get something happening. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 1 that looks like Abrashid. Also going a bit sideways in the first part of the track. Mario's now getting very close as well. It's Kuski's. Oh, I thought he was going to send it there. I was going to take a quick look at Mario's, but he was doing way further behind in 9th place. Getting a good exit there. Divine Eye going towards the inside to defend. So Marios gets a pretty good exit, but gets held back because the Ferrari is just planted. That's a really good exit there. Looking on the inside, which becomes the outside now. Nothing happens, but Kuski's on the outside. Yuri defends every single time, and there's contact. But they keep it through. They keep it clean. Kuski is still in 2nd place. Not through just yet. We'll have to wait for some more laps as Divine Eye is going to look defensive. Doesn't need to, because Marios has got the worst exit. Can't do anything to attack. Up front still. 2nd place for the Red Bull. His teammate down in 17th, so these points are crucial. 7th in the standings. 2nd place here would mean a good start for the feature race. Some more chance of points as well, but he probably wants to make that a 1st place, not just 2nd place, as they're wheel to wheel into the left-hander, leading onto the final sector. They actually are side by side, but because Yuri's on the inside, he's got a way better line. You saw Kuski getting very squirrely on the outside. It's very wet off the racing line currently. Look at the rain pour. There's puddles everywhere, and if you're off the line, there's just so much water you start aquaplaning. You lose so much grip there. You'd think you might be able to carry more speed around the outside, but nuh-uh. The Red Bull says no. Without that DRS, he has to rely on the slipstream. On the back straight, on the start-finish straight. Yuri doesn't go defensive this time around. Knows that he has the speed. And Koski's got no way of getting by. Tronzik currently 7th place. Koski does go through it. Yuri makes a mistake. Yuri's way further down now. Tronzik looks on the inside of Remix. Does get the send down. Can he get it stopped in time? Yes, he can. Park it on the apex and leaving him in the dust. Or should I say, leave him in the spray. Tronzik up to 6th position. Yuri down to 2nd place. This is the worst thing that can happen for the championship fight, according to Yuri. But probably the best thing that can happen if you ask Tronzik. So this is going to be wild. F1 Dino in 10th place, looking to get some points on the boards as well. Mario's now following Divine now, but every moment he gets held up, F1 Dino gets closer and closer to those points. And Williams need them for the battle. It's so close way at the top. So every single point that Tronzik and Dino can get, the team will be very, very, very happy with. Mario's now looking to take the inside line for a good exit on the Ferrari, but doesn't seem to get anything happen for now. Yuri dropping back and back and back. Looks like Koski did have the pace after all and just had to get past, which is a very difficult to do against a driver like Yuri, whose elbow is out all the time. And very fast, very quick, very experienced as well. But once you're past, if you have the pace, it's obviously a little bit different in the wet as well. Marios going to look for it, but I think he's way too far back still. And as you can see, the downforce is a little bit lowered because of the weather, because of the rain. And slipstream with that is also a smaller effect. It makes a smaller change in what you can do as a driver on the straight. Remember that Remix still has a 10-second time penalty, so we'll drop back quite far. And F1 Dino is looking to get another position there. If he stays within 5 seconds of Remix, he can. And he currently is looking from it. He's about 4.5 seconds behind. But Divina will have to speed up because Marios is suffering from this. Having to stay behind for now. F1 Dino suffers from that once again. In turn, Robinho, 12th place, driving right behind Mihu. Looks to maybe go on the inside, not just yet. And the race is already over. The sprint race so quick, I keep forgetting when it's over. Koski winning your race right here from 2nd place. Yuri from pole to 2nd place. Spongy to 3rd. Dutchkin making it down in 4th. Paddy and Tronzik, very close battle, but making it 5th and 6th. Remix on the line at 7th place, but getting some penalties. And F1 Dino does get past. Divina in 7th, Marios in 8th, Robinho 9th, Mihu 10th, F1 Dino 11th, Remix in 12th, Jasper's 13th, Abra Sheet in 14th. Then we have 15th, 16th for Sparrow and Scottish. And then way at the back, still in Sector 2, we have Waza, who will take home 17th place, even after the penalties of the drivers ahead. So your sprint race winner and feature race pole sitter, Koski in the Red Bull. Making a great overtake for P1 and making it stick. Yuri not able to catch on at all. Tronzik dropping down a bit early on, but making his way through to P6, which is going to make for an amazing feature race. I can see that already. Tronzik and Yuri, the closer that they are on track, the more stuff is going to go down. And I'm so looking forward to a clean race here at Zandvoort. And here you have the standings, of course. Koski in 1st, Yuri 2nd, and Spongy making up the podium for the sprint race. Red Bull, Haas, and Aston Martin. So for the standings on the constructors, a lot of drivers, a lot of teams have like mixed results for now. Red Bull winning, but then the second driver was all the way down at the back. Haas as well, Yuri in 2nd place, but Scottish was so far down. Then Spongy in 3rd, but Mookie retiring from the race. The only team that has consistent top scorers is Ferrari currently with 4th and 7th. Because when you look at Mercedes, they're 5th. And then Remix down in 12th. Then Williams in 6th. Paddy in 5th, I should say. Williams 6th with Tronzik. Then further down in 11th with F1 Dyno. So the Ferrari looks to be the biggest point scorer in the sprint race for today. And we're still on our way. Currently, for the feature race, we'll have to wait a tiny bit for the drivers to get ready. And then we'll be driving at lights out. Hopefully it has cleared up a little bit. Or not. A wet start would be really, really fun to watch. But it has indeed cleared up. And it's nice and sunny around the Dutch track. Right at sea. But. If you look at the top right, you can see some clouds already forming. And remember how bright it was in the sprint race at the start. So if you take all of these things into account, there might be a pattern here. I'm not saying there is. But there might be a pattern. Maybe a small one. But there might be a pattern. And hopefully, just maybe, we'll be able to see it today. And we get some more wet weather racing happening here in the Netherlands at Zandvoort. Usually we have people clapping up top. Now they're clapping and they're cheering. Look at them being excited. This is the most excited they've been all season. And I'm all here for it. I should be one of these people right now. I'm actively doing the exact same pose in my chair right now. I am also so excited for this race. It's looking really good with Yuri lined up in 2nd place. As you can see on the right hand side of your screen, he's going to be on the inside line, which is very, very good for the start. If he gets a good start, good launch off the line, he will be able to send it on the inside. That's going to be an amazing, amazing little bit. Of course, the biggest bit here is the strategy for this race. The track, a killer for the tires. Very fast corners on the right-handers, mostly. Sector 2 starts off with a very, very fast right-hander, and Sector 3 finishes off with a quick right-hander as well. All flat out. So we're going to see some different strategies, hopefully. With maybe some drivers starting on the hards as well. So everyone wants to start on the softs, of course, because they're the cleanest tires. They are the grippiest, but they don't last that long. The softs are usually the tires that die very, very early on if you don't treat them right. Then there's the mediums, of course. Your average Joe. Medium grip, medium durability. That's where they are called, the mediums. And there's no time to talk about the hards. Yuri is starting on the mediums. And we've got the Red Bull on the softs as a good launch for Kuski. He gets ahead, but a poor start from Yuri because Spongy is on the outside already looking to send it. But Yuri keeps on to 2nd place. And there's a giant visual bug for me right at the back. And it looks like Abershid looks to be in 1st, but it's not really as he's further down. And my standings are all messed up because Kuski is the one technically in 1st. But hopefully this will settle in just a bit and it's not a desync lobby. As the Red Bull held on to 1st place, Yuri following in 2nd, Spongy in 3rd. And there's a nice line of cars here all lined up to do their thing. And indeed, the virtual safety car has been called already because F1 Dyno in the Williams has crashed and my standings have all neutralized. If we look at the start here, first off, we have the possible race strategies. Looking at the tires, it's going to be soft to mediums, mediums to hards. We see a few hard runners. Touchkey on the hards at the front, which is very, very daring. Jaspers and Arcade on the hards further back. Then we have Kuski on the softs. Needed that for the start, used it very, very well. And then we have Divine Eye, Mookie, and Mihu on the softs as well. Looking from the start, gaining on positions. Mookie +8 as Arcade has joined the grid as well. +2 positions. And F1 Dyno way at the back. Currently 20th place in that Williams, dropping down 9 positions. Jan up 6 as well. Remix up 3. Paddy overtaking Touchkey for 4th place. And we should be back to racing in just a moment. Kuski holding on to 1st place. There we go. Getting ready to go once again as Arky gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And Touchkey lost the position to the Mercedes, but looking to get it back way further down. The AlphaTauri of Jan on the inside of Sparrow into the dunes. It's a fast section, technically a straight, but you still have to keep the space there. And Jan does go through and ends up getting that position set for him in stone. A very, very good move there. Sparrow will have to stick behind for now. Remix into 8th position, overtaking Divine 9. Mookie looking to get that position as well. If you look a little bit further behind, you can see that it's very close, but up ahead as well. Tronzik getting really close there. Mookie getting past Divine Eye. Looks like Divine Eye's made a small mistake as he's lost the position to Mihu as well. Scottish getting through to Sparrow. Sparrow not having a good day. He's getting picked off one by one. As they're all side by side through these corners. Scottish looking to ahead a little bit more. And Kuski is free. 2 seconds clear from Yuri. With insane pace. 1 minute 11.2. So we're waiting for the DRS to be here. But Tronzik does not need to wait for DRS. As he's already through up into 5th position. Touchkey dropping back and back. Now he's got Mihu to look out for in his mirrors. But Mihu himself already has problems. Because Remix is right behind him. Remix sends it very deep. Almost gets taken out by Mookie. Looking to outbrake as well. As Jan has retired from the session. And we see Sparrow dropping further down as well. And there's another virtual safety car as Sparrow has lost his front wing. And it's chaos here through the dunes. Guski up 4 seconds. An insane performance from the Red Bull driver so far. Drops back a tiny bit here to maybe get some positive on the delta, so you can maybe guess when it's going to start again. And when the safety car will be pulled back, because you need to be on the positive side of the delta. If you're on the negative, when the safety car drops, you will get a penalty, and not just any penalty. It will be a drive-through penalty most likely, which is very, very costly here in this series. So drivers sometimes want to back up a tiny bit to get the delta to the positive. And then when you hear that the safety car is going to be ending soon, you can drop it a little bit earlier to maybe get a pace advantage at the start. Spongy almost catching up to Yuri. So Yuri does something, and there we have it. Sparrow getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Also saw something speeding under VSC. So that is 10 seconds total for the Alfa Romeo driver in 17th. Almost at Sauber, but that's not technically what they're called right now. So the virtual safety car looks to be ending, and Kuski has a 3-second pace advantage as DRS is enabled once again after the VSC. Yuri following is second. Spongy dropping further back. Was very close to Yuri, but now has Paddy to look out for. So the Mercedes in his rear view mirror is looking very, very big. And then we have the other Aston Martin also looking for a battle because Mihu is very close to overtaking the Aston. Good on the exit there. DRS is open for Mookie and open for Mihu. So it's not going to be too much of a pace difference between these two drivers, but still a very good chance for them to make something happen. As we look further up top, we've got Tronzik looking for a move there as Remix goes on the inside of Mrios, makes the move happen already as Sparrow retires from the session. Both drivers getting a DRS open. Remix looking, or Paddy looking for something as well, but the safety car has been pulled out because that is Sparrow into the wall in Sector 2, and there's a full safety car being called. A few drivers looking to have taken the advantage. That's Divine Eye, Robinho, and Abrashid. As Abrashid gets 5-second penalty for a severe collision, which is not going to be very, very helpful. And the drivers at the back opting for the hard tire, thinking they can maybe make it last towards the end. Kuski, the driver up front in first place, is going to be the one losing out on some time if he does not stop now, because he is on the softs. And these tires are probably going to be degrading very fast. 5 laps down, which means that this tire, maximum of 10 laps remaining. Maybe even less, because of the nature of the track. It's very bumpy, very cambered, very fast corners. Puts a lot of load on the tire as well. So Kuski might be the one to go into the pits now at the front as well. Yuri might sit it out, actually. If you look at the tires currently, Dutchkey 4-lap all hards. Probably won't be pitting, but might need to pit towards the end. So maybe if the top 5 pit, that means that Dutchkey will get the lead of the race for now. But we're looking at Kuski. Is he going in? No, he is not. He's staying out. Yuri also staying out. There we go. Spongy looking to go in, but he doesn't. Paddy's staying out. Dutchkey's staying out as well. So they're not going in. They're not choosing to go in. Everyone's staying out. So the drivers that have pitted are behind them. So Divine Eye in 13th all the way down. Those are the drivers that get advantage from this. A free stop onto the softs for Abershid and Wazan. Onto the hards for Divine Eye, Robinho. And the mediums for Arkid. So a very interesting choice here to stay out for the rest of the grid. Unsure if that's because they think that these tires will last longer and longer now. But I don't think the softs will last that long. I don't think they'll make it towards where Kuski wants to take it. So going onto the hards will make it very sucky towards the end. But at least you'll get the track position lost now. But if you can keep up with the mediums, you'll basically earn something of a free spot when they pit later. Robinho quickly refreshing his game most likely, leaving under the safety car and getting back again as everyone is joining back up. A very big split there from 15th down. As we see, Wazat 10 seconds back, F1 Dyno 15 seconds back behind that, and Arkid 13 seconds back behind that as well. As we're entering lap 7. And the safety car will go for one more lap. So I'm going to take a quick break to get some water. And you should do too. Stay hydrated. It's getting warmer and warmer out there every single day. Should probably drink more and more water as well. So grab some water, grab a quick snack, but don't go too far. So we'll be back to racing in just a minute. Looks like the gap behind is still pretty big from Arkid, but I don't know if the safety car is going to stay out for another lap. It might just go in on this one, which means that Kuski on the softs for 7 laps now, 5 race laps, 4.5 maybe, is looking to get a good start once again as he did at the race start. You're in second place, looking to make the overtake happen on the mediums, but the cars behind him in the mediums as well. Spongy was very close a bit earlier, and it looks like the safety car will go on for another lap. As Arkid is still very far behind. So looking at the positions won and lost, see Dutchkey dropping down 2, giving room for Paddy and Tronzik. Remix up 5, Mookie up 9, Scottish up 5 as well. The very big winners for now. Look at Divine Eye -6, Robinho -7, and F1 Dyno -6 as well. But those drivers have pitted. As Abershid retires from the session, and Wazaa gets instantly a 5-second time penalty for a collision. Which is very weird. Unsure what happened there, but they probably got it on a replay of some kind for the stewards to look at. So if you look at 13th down, that's where all the drivers have already pitted. So Divine Eye is down 6 positions, but that is not because of his pace. That's purely because he has pitted. So look at this. Divine Eye on new hards, right behind Jaspars on the old hards. Which means that Divine Eye will maybe look to finish the race on this compound, which is going to be a challenge for sure, but one that he'll happily take. Robinho right behind him on the new softs will look to make that adventure a little bit less likely, as he just pitted for these softs and will look to charge through the pack at least for a little bit, as he's got two hard runners and a medium runner in front of him. But that medium runner is Scottish, starting in third place in the sprint race, but unfortunately getting pushed way further back to start on the bottom half. And there we have it, finally the safety car being in this lap, and Kuski getting the one hammer, the one spoon, the one pedal to drop to make sure that Yuri does in fact not get that position. Currently in second place. Looking for a good restart. Look at the tire wall on Kuski. Look at the tire wall on Yuri. Softs versus mediums. Yuri keeping a small distance. Kuski not weaving as Yuri did, making it maybe a bit more visually attracting to Yuri. For Yuri to start, but he knows where it starts, and there he drops it. Oh, Yuri is very, very awake there. That is really close start. Yuri being very, very good on the restart. Looks on the inside, doesn't go for it. Kuski keeping it so far, but Yuri, what a start from the Haas. Tronzik moving through the back as well, and there's another yellow flag there. It looks like some penalties have been given again. And Kuski dropping down to 7th place. What happened there? I missed it. Kuski from 1st to 7th. Might be some contact with Yuri, I'd imagine, because Kuski was on a flawless race so far. A flawless weekend. Getting 2nd place in the qualifying, taking the win in the feature in the sprint race. It might actually not be flawless, but it was very, very good. Maria's not dropping down the standings as well. Is getting overtaken by the Alfa Romeo, and there's the Ferrari of Divine Eye with the clean tires as well. Now they're 3 wide onto the back straight with the DRS. Murillo's backing out of this, but Divine Eye not so much. And there's contact, and both drivers are off. It's F1 Dino and Divine Eye both losing out. Divine Eye losing his front wing, and Dino losing his car. There are so many DNFs. There's currently number 5 now, as Yuri is leading this race. Paddy, Tronzik and Spongy battling for the final positions on the podium, as Kuski makes the overtake happen on Tucci with the softs against the hards. That is a very, very easy move to do. A little bit further ahead, Tronzik and Paddy and Spongy all trailing Yuri by over a second. So that means that Spongy does not have the DRS to help him out. Paddy in 3rd place does look to be very, very close on the rear of Spongy there. Same tire, both on the mediums. Tronzik as well. Kuski on the softs looks to be advancing through. As you can see, he's caught the pack. Now Spongy needs to watch out, but he's not the only one. Kuski looks to be very close to Tronzik. Tronzik not wanting to lose any more positions than he already has, with Yuri leading the race. Getting really close to the Mercedes there. It looks like one of these drivers will lose a position. And one of those drivers might just be Tronzik. Kuski going around the outside on the final corner. DRS not yet enabled, but will be on this lap. Kuski getting past on purely the exit of the soft tire combined with the slipstream. Up into 4th place. Back on track. Mario's fighting with Jaspers. Gets up to 11th place as Divine Eye is spinning around and around. Has pitted, looks like for new softs, but can't get anything out of the tire so far. He's down in 15th place with a 2nd spin already right in front of Yuri. Might give him some slipstream in just a moment. Spongy now having to defend. He's got 3 drivers right behind him. 4 if you count Tuchki, who's joining the battle as well. And Mookie is getting chased down by Remix. The Mercedes looking very, very strong. But for now, Batty is the one that's going to be on the offense. And Spongy very, very much looking to defend. I was just confused there a bit because Divine Eye is last place. He's spinning 3 or 4 times on a lap. Batty will have the DRS, but it's mostly just to defend. because there's Kuski looking for a move as well. 3 wide down into turn 1. Paddy on the outside, Kuski on the inside, Spongy in the middle. Who will survive? Kuski's getting out with 2 positions there, up into second place again. Spongy and Paddy both moving down a position. And Paddy's still looking eager to get something back, but he's on the same tire as Spongy. So it's going to be a clean battle for something of a podium position here, as Kuski is looking to pull away with that soft tire. Remember, he's been on this tire for the entire race. We'll have to pit soon. So there's a caution in sector 1 and 3 for the Ferrari of Divine Eye DNFing. That is 15th down to 20th. 6 DNFs so far. And it's Kuski trying to pull away, but Spongy still has that DRS. And there's a cent and a half from Tronzik, holding it on around the outside, both on the mediums. Tronzik holding on for just a bit, but Paddy staying out ahead going into the final few corners. And it's all about exit. Both of them have the DRS. Spongy's DRS is just to hold on, and that is Tronzik looking for an overtake. He's side by side, gets past into turn 1. With that double slipstream. Paddy not going defensive at all. Scottish back up to 8th place, by the way. Passing Remix. A very good job there as well to recover from that horrible sprint adventure that he's had. Paddy looking for a good exit around the curved corner of turn 4 through the dunes. Has a good exit. Looking very racy through this bit. Currently in 5th. Knows he can do more. Not just for himself, but for the team as well. Remix down in 9th. His teammate also looking very feisty so far. Following Scottish through. And as you can see, Kuski on the soft already over a second clear of Spongy. Spongy not having the DRS to defend any more from Tronzik. Was looking to gain and gain and gain. Onto the slowest part, sector 3. And then getting a good exit out of the final corner to open up the wing very, very early. And get that advantage on the straight. Kuski, in the meantime, getting within a second of Yuri. Might not overtake just yet, but will look to close the gap as far as he possibly can. And here we have Tronzik opening up that rear wing into the final corner. Does get the overtake happen here on the straight. Sponge going very far towards the inside, but it's useless with that straight line speed of the Williams combined with the DRS. And he is through. Tronzik up into 3rd place. Very good start from him again after the little bit disappointing qualifying. Dutchkey joined the battle now as well. Mookie getting close to it. It's Paddy. It's getting real racy here. Right behind that Aston Martin. Almost touching the gearbox. I feel like if he stuck out a hand or a foot there, he could maybe take some pieces of the diffuser home with him. Maybe stick some on the front wing as well, as he's crashing into him. Almost into the braking zone. Spongy. Doesn't look like he can hold on to the Williams. Unsure if that's just the tire wear that Spongy's been pushing really hard since the start. Does have the DRS a little bit to hold on, but Tronzik might just be gone for now. A little bit further up ahead, we have Kuski within a few tenths. On the softs, of course, which will most likely drop down in pace throughout the next few laps. Yuri in the mediums. And there goes the DRS zone. Yuri wiggling a tiny bit. Kuski looking for it. Yuri not going defensive, and the Red Bull is passed into turn 1. There's nothing Yuri can do about it. With that straight line speed, you are gone. Scottish leaving the session, which allowed Remix to get past. Now up into 8th place. Scottish down into 9th. Also has got a very disappointing weekend here. Spongy now looking to hold on to the Williams of Tronzik so far, but looks like Paddy is a bigger threat to him than he is to Tronzik. So Tronzik looking to make something of a chase up to the front to maybe get rid of the pack that he's got behind him, because this is a DRS train which is going to be very, very dangerous onto the start straight. Paddy almost looking lined up to fly out of there with that curb touching there, as Scottish drops down another position after rejoining again. It looks like he's not fully rejoined back. His car is down into 10th place. Look at Yuri, currently with the DRS gaining on Kuski, but it's just the Red Bull's too fast. There's nothing he can do. Spongy looking to close in on Tronzik again. And there's Remix past Mookie. So Mookie is going into the pits. So these softs of Mookie thinks that they're already gone. Onto the mediums for the second half of the race. Might sit it out. So that means that Kusky is going to be pitting soon as well. And Scottish DNFing from this race. A yellow again in Sector 1 as the McLaren drivers go through. Kusky getting chased now. Yuri still holding on pretty well. Bad exit there from Spongy, it looked like. Wing still open to defend. But Paddy is looking. Doesn't make anything happen just yet. Will close the gap a tiny bit more. But Touchkey is looking to gain in on the battle as well. The Dutch driver up at the 6th. Or should I say down to 6th? If we look at the positions changed from the start. I keep skipping over it. He's down 2 positions. There he is, Kusky into the pits. Onto the mediums as well, making the same move as Mookie. And if we look at the tires as well, we see that the top hasn't pitted yet. So the top onto the 9th, except for Kusky, has not pitted yet. All of these mediums up all the way into 16 lap. Mihu actually still on the soft tire. Unsure if he's dropping back that far, because he's got a pretty good gap around him so far. And Spongy now effectively 4th place. But it looks like the strategy might pay off here for the medium runners. And Kusky, he will be on the mediums now. And might be able to gain some positions on pure pace because he got the clean tires. But in the end, we're going to see the rest of the grid, rest of the front mostly, going out on softs again. Towards the end, because they're on the mediums now. They're going to be switching to the softs in just a few moments' time. Probably about 5 laps until the front is all on the softs again. So they know that it can last for about 16 laps. Maybe a bit less because of the safety cars, of course. The virtual safety cars. Paddy now has the DRS, but so does Spongy to defend. There are so many DNFs. Currently we're on 7 DNFs. Only 13 drivers racing anymore. And Kusky is already up on Rios with that DRS and the new tires on a charge to maybe get the undercut happen. It looks like it has. Unsure if I can see the gap to the leader. Should probably do this. 17 seconds off the leader. You lose about 20 seconds or so on the pits. So that means that Kusky has indeed made it happen and get the undercut for now. But then again, Yuri will be on the softs as he stops. It's going to be an interesting one as well. Kusky now gaining so much. Mihu on those old softs. Look at them. Tires are burned. Should probably stop sometime soon to avoid getting picked off by his teammate as well. You can see those gaps also decreasing. It was about 2 seconds. Now only 1.5 remaining. And Kusky up at the 7th place. Spongy now with the DRS on Tronzik. Tronzik not able to get anywhere close to Yuri either. So Yuri pulling away pretty well. Holding out his weight up in front. The only gaps within a second now are these 3 drivers, Tronzik, Spongy, and Paddy, within 1.5 seconds of each other. It's looking very racy up the front. But we still have to wait for strategy for just a little bit. So the mediums will last, if I had to guess, about 4 more laps before we get into anything pit stop territory for these tires. Rolling for a little bit longer. Kusky now in 7th place. Gonna quickly look at the gap again. It was 17 seconds. It is now 15 seconds. So every lap that they wait, Kusky's gonna get further and further ahead. But with all this, Kusky being the only one, that means that Yuri can pit, get out in 2nd place, and have clean air on clean softs to push. Push, and maybe get something back on the Red Bull. Spongy still with the DRS. Paddy as well. No defense happening, but no offense happening either. Tronzik is so fast in the corners. He makes up for all the time lost on the straights as well. He puts on a new fastest lap with those mediums. It's me who now drops into the pits with those soft tires. If you look at them, 19 laps old, which shows that the front runners can possibly choose to do something right now, because Kuski is just gaining and gaining, getting the DRS, and Yuri is losing out so much on this. Kuski's already passed. I didn't think he'd make it before the corner, but he did. Up to 6th place, now chasing Tutschki, who still has to pit, I believe. Yes, he has. So he's already passed Remix and Rios, who still have to pit. And Kuski, just insanely fast today. Closing the gap to Yuri. And I think it's for his best interest if he goes to pit sometime now. He stays out for longer. But the longer he stays out, the more this is going to benefit the Red Bull. Here you can see another big gap to the Williams ahead. And Tronzik goes into the pits. The first one of the front runners to pit. And here we have Kuski already getting past. So this is on position. Tutschki in the pits as well. And he's just gone. Tronzik was pretty close to attacking the front runners. And Kuski was one of them. And it's just over. He's exiting the pits now. There's a huge gap between Tronzik and Kuski. It's insane how hard the undercut has worked here. But Paddy's still within a second. And Tutschki getting out right behind Robinho. So they're fighting here for 9th position. Tutschki with the clean tires. Robinho on the old hards. Has stopped 3 times already. But Tutschki should have that in the pocket because of the pace difference of the tire compound. Tronzik now has pitted, chasing Mookie. New softs. They gain so much time there. First off, probably going to be looking at Tutschki closing in on Robinho in the AlphaTauri. We got this swooping left-hander into a DRS zone. We'll probably take it into the braking zone of this Sector 3 chicane as Yuri gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And that is very bad for his race. That's 5 seconds he could not lose, possibly. And Kuski is through all the way up front. He is so far clear. Yuri was the one who was supposed to be in 2nd place. And look how much time he gained there. Remix is in the middle there. But Yuri out in 3rd place. That is 8 seconds that he's lost to Kuski on the undercut, which is an insane amount. That's a great, great move there. Paddy having pitted right ahead of Tutschki, but behind Spongy still. Tronzik past Rios now. Rios on the old hards, as you can see here. Old mediums, I should say. Remix still having to pit as well, and the rest is all good. So Remix and Rios now the only ones to pit, which put Yuri into effective 2nd place, but 7, almost 8 seconds behind Kuski. He's got about 14 laps to make up that deficit. But he's not the only one. Tronzik is charging, only 4 seconds behind that. He's got the DRS open to pass Mookie in the Aston. Not going defensive and sending it up on the inside, making a good overtake happen there. Tronzik up into 4th place. Yuri now 3rd, right behind Remix. Remix still has to pit, and there he goes onto the inside. Doesn't go into the lane, lets Yuri past to catch a little bit of the slipstream and maybe hoping to hold on for a bit longer. Still has to pit, and his tires will be absolutely dead. So the longer he waits now, the worse it'll be. Because no matter when he pits, he's going to go onto the softs. The space is going to be better than the guys around him. So it would be best for him to pit now. There's no way he's going to be falling off at any point. Robinho into the pits, and it looks like his car was looking very weird there, but is currently in 12th place. Mookie attacking Tronzik, who just got past him. They're sticking close a little bit. Spongy right behind Rios now. Rios on the very old mediums. Spongy looking to attack. Who's got Paddy right behind him. He needs to attack. He needs to get past, otherwise he's going to get overtaken by the Mercedes. Luckily, he covered over the inside there. We'll have the good exit here on the McLaren. We'll get past into the braking zone. But there's another Mercedes looking as well. Gets past too. Rios leaving them both by. Letting this battle just happen. And now there's Tutschki in the mix as well. Currently 9th place. We'll get past the McLaren. Yuri sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:10.4. This battle continuing. Tushki still has that DRS. Will get past Marios now, but so will Paddy. Overtaking Spongy for 6th place currently. This battle for 6th is going to continue for just a bit longer, which will become the battle for 5th effectively, because Remix still has the pit. I believe that's the only one. Is it Marios? And also, yes, Marios and Remix still needing to pit. So both of these drivers still out on the tire that they started on. Very interesting strategy with the amount of safety car and virtual safety cars we've had so far. Tronzik currently right behind Remix. Needs to get past. Otherwise he's losing time. These are much cleaner softs. Very close to the gearbox there. Remix not going... He is going defensive. Looks like he's just let the Williams past. And Tronzik up into 3rd place. Yuri now 5.5 seconds behind Kuski. He's got 12 more laps to make something happen. He's got cleaner tires. And Kuski's on the mediums. So Yuri's tires might drop off towards the end of the race. But there's only about 10 laps to go after the next one. And there he goes, Remix off into the pits. But look at the rest of his screen. You see Mookie defending. Paddy looking to attack. Currently in a sandwich of Aston Martins. But look at what Remix gets. He gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Marios is in as well. So these two are going to be racing towards the end, because Remix has that 5-second time penalty. And Paddy looking to get a good exit out of this corner. As Spongy retires from the session, that calls for a safety car. So incredibly bad timing from Remix to pit there. Same goes for Marios. Marios down into 11th place. Remix to 9th. And Jaspar's also getting a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Saw the safety car being pulled out and instantly dropped into the pits. And this is going to be great for Yuri, because he is on the new softs and the gap will be neutralized. And that being said, going to make some more predictions right when the safety car is going to end. But for now, cars will have to bunch up. And maybe we'll see a pit stop happen here from Kuski to go onto the soft. He's got quite a good gap. And there he goes onto the pits. Doesn't have the gap that he needs, but he's going to lose a little bit less time. Yuri onto new tires as well. Knows that if Kuski's going to be right behind him with the new tires, he's going to need it as well. But does he have another set of softs? That is the question. Looks like he does, and he will indeed get that extra set as well. Kuski now through into 1st place. Yuri will take that 5-second penalty now under the safety car. Keeps 2nd place. Luckily for him, because this 5-second gap will be neutralized at the end of the safety car. But for now, taking a quick break for some water, and we'll let the safety car catch up any cars that were left behind. And we'll see you for more racing for the final 8 or 7 laps in just a minute. And we have indeed confirmation of the safety car being in. Once again, Yuri on second place. Was awake on the previous restart. Looks to be very close once again. Kuski making the same moves, being very slow. But will he drop it on the same moment again for the final 8 laps of racing? 9 laps of racing, I should say. Yuri doing the exact same move, sticking very closely to the rear. Has to brake now. And Kuski, it's a little bit of a contest now. And he's off. Kuski is gone. A little bit of powering and braking. And Tronzik is already passed before the line. Unsure if that's going to be planned here. But there's a Mookie on the inside looking for something as well. Getting overtaken by Paddy and Tronzik into 3rd place. Yuri keeps 2nd place. For some reason he keeps it. Paddy 4th as well. Looking very squirrely there on the exit there. Mookie getting attacked by Tuchki as well, who's right behind him. And this restart is chaos. As Jaspers drops down to 12th position. Was on to 11th. And remember, we only have 12 drivers remaining. And it looked very feisty on the top there. But Tronzik holding 3rd position, not getting up into 2nd. Unfortunately for him, Mookie looked very, very racy at the start there too. We see Tuchki now fighting. Mihu dropping back a little bit. And there's Paddy already. He's got a gap ahead of him to Tronzik. So when the DRS gets enabled in just a moment, we're not going to see a lot from there. So the top 3 pretty clear already. Pretty fast drivers as well as Remix. Is looking on to get held back behind the AlphaTauri through that corner. We'll have the slipstream and a great exit there. As Kuski gets a 110.0 out of the way. Robinho going defensive. Remix on the outside. Doesn't get the move happen. But we'll have a good exit once again out of turn 1. Might look for something down the dunes. As the top 3 is 1.5 seconds clear now. Kuski almost a second clear as well. 9/10 now. So Yuri's on the brink of losing DRS. Throughout this lap. Remix following Robinho to close the gap to Miu. As Mookie is the one to look at something that Paddy can do, but he's off the track into the gravel trap almost. Rejoin, that's very sketchy. And dropping down to 8th place, fighting Remix to hold on for this. Remix getting impeded by this. And might look for a move on the straight here. And the bad exit of Mookie on the inside doesn't send it. Goes for the safe way. And waits for just a tiny bit. Tronzik now right behind Yuri. He's got a gap ahead of him of a second. Kuski is loose. Yuri does not have DRS. Tronzik has got the rear flap almost ready to open. Because it's only a few laps still. DRS will be enabled on this lap. Tronzik with the slipstream. Yuri looking defensive. And Tronzik still very, very close there. Mookie real close too. Now Robinho passed. And now we're losing another position almost because Remix is looking to get the overtake done as well. So not only he has to look ahead of him, he has to look behind him as well. Robinho wants that position back but doesn't quite get it. Looks very cloudy, so we might get some rain still on the final few laps of this race. It's Robinho is dropping back, and Mookie following Mihu very closely, getting tapped in the rear, and there he goes! Robinho is off from that chain reaction of events. Mihu slowing down, Mookie getting contact out of that. Robinho getting contact, and then Remix tapping him in the rear. And then getting spun around. Mookie, very good exit there in the final sector. Slowest bit of the track, but the fastest one out of the corner is Mookie into P6. Very good job there, Tronzik. Following through, Yuri has the DRS open. Yuri not going defensive, doesn't need to. Keeps it into turn 1. Lap 31, 6 laps remaining. There's some action going on further behind. Remix looking to get some more positions off of this. As he's currently in P8. Wants to join his teammate Paddy in a lot of points for this race. It's looking really good for Mercedes so far. We think get a little bit more. That would be really, really good. McLaren also very good performance already. 7th and 9th. It's a lot different from what we've been seeing. But unfortunately, it's off the back of a lot of DNFs. But points are points. You can't argue with that. So Remix now looking to get 7th place off of the McLaren of Mihu. As Kuski looks to be clear and he's pulling away pretty far. But I'm wondering if he's not just destroying his tires. But these softs should last for a little bit longer because of the lower fuel load. And Tronzik now right behind Yuri. Got a pretty good exit there, but there's quite a gap. Yuri already on the defense. Tronzik gaining. Does he do anything? Looks on the inside, doesn't send it. Yuri has to go defensive. And there is the move that Tronzik wanted to make, but Tutschki ended up being the one making it. Remix not past Mihu just yet. Has to wait for a little bit more. Paddy looking very close to Tutschki now. Tutschki has just passed him, but Paddy following through really well. Tronzik following as well. So you'd think that through these corners at such high speed you get a lot of arrow wash, but you can follow so closely in these cars. So every year they get more and more advanced. And there's closer and closer racing through the corners. Paddy looking to get that position back. Tutschki doesn't have the comfort of the DRS. Currently P4, no podium for him just yet, but anything can happen. Paddy with the DRS looking on the inside, doesn't go for it. Decides to play it a bit safer because he knows that there's a big DRS zone coming up. That's exactly the one that Tronzik will be looking at right now. Opening up that flap because Yuri is over 2 seconds behind. And Tronzik looks to be a little bit close now. Yuri's swiveling onto the inside there, almost losing it, looked like. Going back to the racing line. Tronzik will not be happy with that one, but there's Paddy on the outside again. Tutschki going defensive, still has the inside line. We'll say side by side. Paddy gets a good exit there. There's a left-hander and then a right-hander. Whoa, Tutschki almost having his wheel on the inside, stuck there. But getting overtaken by the Mercedes. Back up into P4 is Paddy. Both these drivers fighting is going to lose them a lot of time, but they don't care. It's all for fourth right now for these two. Paddy and Tutschki. Rubinho sets a new fastest lap. That has to be on the clean softs that he's put on. After getting contact, he might have pitted and repaired some damages. Bozar gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Marios doesn't get the overtake happen just yet. Tronzik a little bit further behind now than he was last lap. But can he make something happen? Yuri making the move to the inside line. Now back to the racing line. And now he's not allowed to move anymore. So if Tronzik sends it, he sends it. And he doesn't. He stays behind. But there is Tutschki on the inside. No contest with the DRS. Easy pass for him. Then we have Marios onto Remix. Same thing. Remix opening up the space on the outside. Giving the position to Marios. Now 7th and 8th for McLaren. Good points if they finish like this. There's still a few laps remaining. And that is a few laps where Kuski is going to be leading. 3-second gap now because Yuri and Tronzik are fighting a bit too much. Which means that Yuri will not be able to catch up unless Kuski makes a massive mistake. But it should be in the pocket for Red Bull. 1st and 11th currently on the track. Paddy now looking very close there to Tutschki. Doesn't make it happen. And this DRS zone is the one where I've seen the least overtakes on DRS. I've seen some sense there. But these two fighting has allowed Mookie to join back in as well. So Tutschki 6 seconds behind the podium positions. Can't make anything happen. Tronzik really close now. Yuri doing the exact same strategy. Will have the inside line for turn 1. Sticks it around still. Tronzik getting very deep there. With that overspeed, it's very, very difficult to choose where to brake. It's Paddy through, but Tutschki holding on and side by side still into turn 2. And Tutschki is still ahead of the Mercedes. But this battling, like I said, has allowed some of the other drivers behind to catch back up. One of those being Mookie in 6th place. Paddy still really close through the dunes. He's going to send it into the right-hander here. He is not sticking it behind very, very closely there. Smelling all the fumes from that Ferrari. In the highest engine mode he can possibly produce. We'll look quickly at the ERS situation here. Kuski chilling with a little bit left. Yuri almost empty. Tronzik very empty. Tutschki pretty confident on the ERS so far. Is going to use a little bit for defense here. But will have it on the straight to defend because Mookie is looking to attack as well. And if Tutschki can defend from Paddy, then Mookie can capitalize on this and maybe get P5 off the Mercedes. Yuri going defensive again on the straight. Tronzik catching. We'll have the outside line maybe for a good exit there. But Yuri keeping the position very well. That's a very good gap closing from the Williams. And will be past Yuri going into turn 3. And Yuri has lost the place to Tronzik. Finally, after laps and laps of trying, Tronzik is through. And we're on the final lap. He has to hold it for a little bit longer. Kuski being first place currently. And there's a big battle going on. I keep wanting to watch the winning driver finish the line, but I can't when the battles are so close. Touch keep making a small mistake, allowing Paddy to follow through a little bit better. Yuri still within half a second. He still can and might have a chance to do something here on this DRS straight. Don't think he's close enough for it just yet, but might get it before the line. You never know. Into the final chicane of the track. Following really well there, Paddy. Opening up the wing. Doesn't go for the send just yet. Kuski now into the final corner of the race. And there's Mookie trying to send it as well, but he doesn't get it just yet. Kuski onto the line, being the one to win the race. And Kuski and Red Bull are your winners for the Dutch Grand Prix. Tronzik is second. Yuri puts it down in third. And there's Tutski in fourth. Currently looking to finish there as well with Paddy in fifth. Mookie in sixth. Very close racing between those drivers. Mihu in seventh. Rios eighth. Remix in ninth place. Is how we're finishing up this race. Jaspars with 5 seconds of penalty will get in front of Waza, who's got a 3-second time penalty, finishing up the final corner right now. And Robinho will be taking the checkered flag in 12th place. The last one of the finishers with 8 DNFs, and Kuski being your race winner. A very eventful race here at Zandvoort. But Red Bull taking the win with Mookie. And onto the podium. Ascending like he ascended this race. Yuri in third place. Tronzik taking second right at the end. As we're looking onto the drivers celebrating, we're also going to look onto the calendar. Next week, we'll be driving at Silverstone, a personal favorite of mine. Here we see indeed Kuski winning out on this event. If we look at the results from the race, Kuski from first to first, Tronzik from 6th to 2nd. Great race from Mookie, starting 18th after DNFing from the sprint race up to 6th. Mihu from 10th to 7th, and Waza from 17th to 11th as well, bringing home some points because the point scoring is not the same as in F1. Overall on the weekend, Kuski getting the greatest moves ever on winning both races. Yuri getting 2nd place in the sprint race and 3rd in the feature. Tronzik further back on the sprint race, we're getting a 2nd place position in the feature race. And that sums it up for the Zandvoort Dutch GP. My name is Olaf. I've been Wopser from Wops Racing. And I will see you again next week.